Edward the Blue Engine was getting old. His bearings were worn and he clanked as he rattled down the line. One mid-spring morning, he was taking some empty cattle trucks to a market town on his branch line. He was passing a cow field. The cows were new and weren't used to Edward's clanking. They were so frightened by the noise and smoke that they charged the fence and knocked into the train. They broke a coupling and 4 cattle trucks and the brake van were left behind. The trucks shouted and the guard waved his red flag, but Edward didn't notice. "Oh, bother those trucks and their tricks. Why can't they come quietly?" he fussed. Edward was used to trucks bumping along and assumed the jerk was just another bump in the track. It wasn't until they arrived at the cattle dock at the next station that he and his crew realized what had happened. When the big engines heard about what happened, they laughed and laughed. "Fancy getting overpowered by cows of all things." "Yes, those hunks of meat have no brains. How did you get outwitted by them, Edward?" Edward just rolled his eyes, but Toby was upset. He usually didn't get so riled up, but the big engines had gotten to him. "Shut up. It wasn't Edward's fault. He had no idea. Besides, if you two ever interacted with cows, you'd know the trouble they cause. But no, you stick to your heavy freight and express passengers. On small lines like Edward's and my old one, cows are just a way of life." "Yes, exactly, Toby. These 2 assholes wouldn't know what to do if they got stuck by one, let alone a dozen." "Pooh, I just whistle and wish." "Precisely. We'd know a thing or two. We'd show them." Toby and Edward just chuckled. A number of days later, Gordon was streaming down the line with his express. He swung past the field where James had had his accident all those years ago. He noticed 2 farmers looking at a big hole in the stone wall of the cow field. Gordon brushed it off and continued down the line until he came to the bridge over the old harbor. And there, standing in the middle of the bridge, balancing precariously on the crossbeams, was a cow. His driver hit the brakes and the mighty express came to a stop. "What's this doing here?" "It must have come from those farms up the line. We should go back and get the farmers." "Pooh! No, we can handle this ourselves." "Go on! Shoo! Shoo!" But the cow did not move. It said nothing except a long, sad moo. "Oh, that does not sound good." "Nonsense! We can't let the express be delayed by a cow. Be off!" Still the cow didn't move. Before long they saw Henry snake his way up the incline onto the bridge. He stopped alongside too. "What's this? A cow? I'll soon settle her. Go on! Shoo! Shoo!" "I already tried that." The cow let out another depressed moo. Henry backed away. "I don't want to hurt her." The crews tried to get the cow off the bridge. They pushed and shoved, but it was no use. She stayed rooted to the spot. Henry's guard ran back to the junction to warn of the obstacle. "That must be Bluebell," said the station master. "Her calf is here. Wandered out of the field on the other side of the bridge. Here comes Edward. We'll send him up with her calf to get her to the farmer." Edward chuckled when he heard the plan. "Now fancy that!" He brought up the calf to Bluebell, and with the mother and daughter now reunited, they set off back to the farm. Edward gave Gordon a pitying look as he left. That night, Edward backed down into the sheds. Well, 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 fancy not 1, but 2 big engines frightened over a single cow. "Frightened? Rubbish! Yes, we simply didn't want to hurt the thing. Exactly. We stopped as to not to excite her. You see what I mean, dear Edward? Oh, yes, Gordon, I do indeed. Gordon thought that Edward could see only too well.